So today I wanted to talk about habits, because habits are super, super important. As a writing coach, one of the first things that I ever talk with, One of the first things I talk about with clients is their current habits and how we can kind of improve them to make their writing productive, right? I mean, that's the point, is that every week you want to be churning out words toward your writing project, whether that's a blog or a book. If the words aren't on the page, then you're not really making any progress. So we like to examine your habits, and whether or not you realize it, you already have habits. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Oh, Periscope 101. If you like what I'm saying, tap the screen to give hearts, and that lets me know you're engaged and this is useful for you. And if you'd like to hear about writing, click the little Perry dude down there, and if you're not following me, it's a plus, and click it and it'll turn into a check mark, and that means you're following me, and it will let you know when I am scoping. So one last thing. If you have to hop off, you can always find out what we scoped about, because I know you're busy. You're probably, if you're like me, I listen to scopes while I'm making dinner or, in the car, and obviously I don't want to be like typing and taking notes while I'm driving or cooking. So I take notes for you. I take scope notes. So let me show you where the address is, and this is the address that'll have notes and replays and transcripts, so you can always stay caught up. paperravenbooks.com/periscope. There it is, Charles, right there for you. paperravenbooks.com/periscope. Alrighty, so you can always stay caught up there with the latest scopes. And my website's also up there in that corner. You can see it. It was really hard to write that because I had to write it in a mirror image. It took me like 10 minutes to write paperravenbooks.com in a mirror image. But anyway, that way you have it for reference up there. Sure thing. Okay, so whether or not you realize that you already have writing habits. These are some common writing habits that happen when we don't realize it. So, do you wait until you feel inspired to write? Do you write halfway through a story or a draft and then stop and take a break? Do you reread every paragraph as you're writing? Like you finish a paragraph and then you go back and reread it? Do you spend more time talking about and thinking about writing than actually writing? And before you sit down to write, do you check email and Facebook real quick first? I know, I do that. But these are all habits that we develop unintentionally, and they really detract from our writing. Forever alone. I'm not really sure. Elaborate for me. And we're never alone, not when we have Periscope. We're in Houston, NY, Southwest Houston, kind of in the Meyerland area that flooded in May. My house didn't, but I felt really bad for my neighbors. My kids were like, wow, there's water everywhere. Sorry, tangent. But we have these habits if we have unexamined sort of writing routines. So I want to kind of challenge you today to think about the ways in which you usually write. Think about what habits you've accidentally developed, and then take that moment to say, okay, here are some new habits that I want to establish. And here are a couple I would love for you to think about. One habit that you could start that would seriously change your life is to set weekly word count goals. So, if you're writing a book, I recommend that you shoot for 3,000 to 5,000 words a week. That's enough to keep good momentum on a book project. And that'll take 3 to 5 hours a week. 3 to 5. So, hi Tracy, just joined. And that's enough to keep momentum in your book. Even if you have to spend 60 to 80 hours a week doing stuff for work and kids and home and laundry and groceries, you can spend 3 hours a week writing a book, especially if that book could seriously change your life. Hi Pam, also joining. So set those word count goals and track your progress. So write down every writing session. Say it was September 2nd, and from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. I wrote 500 words. And keep that on a piece of paper, and 3 weeks after you've been tracking your progress, you will have a whole new perspective on how, when you write best. Oh, thanks, Tracy. I know, I upgraded. I'm more pro. Look, I have paperravenbooks.com up there. we're upgrading a little bit at a time. Periscope has been a really awesome way to connect, and so I really want to invest in the Periscopes that I do for you guys so that you really get awesome value. And part of that is the aesthetics. Okay, sorry. I'm going to try to stay on track. I'm feeling a little bit distracted because I actually did like an hour-long webinar, and so now my mind is like a little bit mushy. But we're going to do it. We're going to make it. It's going to be good. Number 2, writing routines for... Oh, thanks, Charles. Writing routines for when and where you'll be writing. So really think about this because, okay, when we have all of these devices, we have the smartphones and the tablets and the laptops and the computers like everywhere, it's really tempting to say, oh, I'm just going to write wherever. Like, if I'm at the grocery store and I have 5 minutes and the line's really long, I'm just going to write. But then, if you are writing on your blog post or your book in the middle of the grocery store line, what happens to that writing? Does it ever get reintegrated and reincorporated into your main file? Maybe, maybe not. And so that's not productive. What is productive is just setting aside like a few times a week and just say, okay, I know that Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning I'm going to write. I'm going to, be at my kitchen table with my laptop. And that, like, streamline it. Make it simple. Writing does not have to be complicated. Just because there are 1,000 writing apps doesn't mean you have to use 1,000 writing apps. Use one. Pick one and use it. Use it all the time. Thanks for the hearts, guys. So really consider and be intentional about when and where and how you're writing. Number 3, I recommend free writing. So this is a habit that I actually use for everything. I free write about my books, and I know Tracy does too. I think those are the purple hearts coming up. We love free writing. I free write about a book before I write it. I free write about my business and my family and my spirituality and like anything that I'm having like an issue with or want to think more deeply about. Free writing helps me kind of access that. So the way that I practice free writing is I set a timer. 5 minutes is long enough to get a good free writing session in. Or 10. I'd recommend 10 actually. So like 10 minutes. You can fit in 10 minutes anywhere. Pull up my laptop, start the 10-minute timer, and I just start typing literally as fast as I can. So like my fingers are spilling out words faster than my brain is thinking them, which is a really weird sensation at first. But I promise you do that for 10 minutes and you look back over what you've written and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that thought was in my brain. You come up with solutions, you come up with like new like crazy ways to combine ideas, you come up with like a vision for your future that you never had before. I mean, it's like you will be dumbfounded at how much is in your brain once you start free writing. So use that free writing technique. 10 minutes, timer, typing as fast as you can. Number 4 is kind of a riff off the same one, but use a timer not only when you're free writing, but anytime you're writing. So when you're drafting a chapter or editing or revising or posting a blog on WordPress, set a timer for 25 minutes and try to get as much done as you can in that 25 minutes. When that timer rings though, you gotta stop and you gotta take a 5-minute break. Like non-negotiable, because your brain can focus really, really well for 25 minutes. And then it's like it needs a break. Because pushing and going for 60, 90, 120 minutes of focused work is not possible for your brain. And that's fine. We just got to learn how to work with our brain. So this is actually called the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro. Who's from Italy? You know what that means. And can spell it properly, unlike most of us Americans. Pomodoro. Pomodoro. Hey Ron, thanks for joining. So it's a productivity style that's 25 minutes of highly focused work and then 5-minute break. So that is a really great habit, not only for your writing, and I recommend that for any type of writing, but for getting stuff done in general. Actually, I set Pomodoros for like my kids. When we're cleaning up the house at the end of the day, I'm like, okay kids, I'm setting the timer, and these are the 3 things we're going to accomplish before that timer goes off. And like they scurry. They're like, oh, we got to run fast. So we do the same thing. Our brains, we hit that timer and our brain is like, okay, gotta focus and go. And we start writing or typing or, whatever it is that we're doing, we start doing it faster and with more focus. So 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And then the last habit is sharing your progress with someone else. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate the share. You guys, if you're not following Ron, he's a writer and he scopes daily about writing also. Ron, throw some emojis up there in the comments so that people can follow you. And Pam, if you're in here too, she's a writer also. Ron and Pam, throw some like thumbs up or, I don't know what emojis Periscope has these days, party hats, whatever. And that way people can follow you guys. Thanks, Ron. Yep, there's some faces. Ron's awesome. And then if Pam is still in here, Pam, throw up some also. But you guys hit their comment, hit their thing, and hit follow. Find an accountability partner. Find someone who you trust and will encourage you and will provide you guidance when you need it. And invest in that relationship. And that's what accountability really is like you trust this person with like the project that you're working on, and you let them in. You let them see your vulnerability. You let them see that you're working toward this grand vision, and maybe you don't always make the progress that you want, but that person's there to help you and encourage you and to, give you a kick when you need it. And honestly, I don't think you can finish a book without someone like that. I had an accountability partner when I was writing my book. As a coach, I am people's accountability partners. And even in my other goals, there's Pam. It's backwards. Dang it. On mine, it looks correct. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. But y'all just saw Pam follow her too. Well, that just looks silly, doesn't it? That's okay. It's a learn. We're learning. We're always learning. We're always adjusting, always adapting, always tweaking. My first camera. It's funny. It took me 10 minutes to write that in mirror image. Oh, anyway, it's fine. It's totally cool. Hi, Chivas. I did write it backwards, Ron. Okay, look. I don't know if you guys can read the text. The text that's in the circles is forwards for me, and then the text that's up there at the very top that says Paper Raven Books is backwards for me. Man, 10 minutes wasted in my day. It's fine. I'm so dedicated. I tell you, today has been the day of tech glitches. I had this webinar. I spent hours making this beautiful slide presentation, and it didn't, I didn't share the screen properly. But I was looking at the slides, and so I couldn't see the chat, and everyone was like, I can't see the slides. And I didn't even know until the webinar was over. It was so, I thought I was outsmarting the camera. Ron, exactly. I was trying to be smart, and it didn't work. That's okay. So then I had to go back and email everyone the slides, and now I've got the backwards text. Write it like looking in an ambulance. Thank you, Pam. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. It'll be fine. But this is I guess the lesson that the universe is trying to teach me today is we put stuff out there, and sometimes it's not perfect, and we iterate and we make changes and we do it again. It's science. Tracy down there. Okay, she loves science. Tracy is almost finished with her book. We've been working on it since June, and she's gonna launch. She's gonna rock it out of here. You're gonna be hearing a lot from Tracy. Especially if you raise daughters and love science, Tracy's your gal. So yes, guys. We iterate, we experiment, we keep launching, we keep trying, and that goes for writing, that goes for business, that kind of goes for life. It's like parenting. It's you try with the first kid, and at least you have the second kid to make up for whatever mistakes you made. On How I Met Your Mother, they call the first kid the first pancake, because the first pancake's always burned. And then you have more kids. Anyway, science rocks. Pam, connect with Tracy. This is how it works, folks. Y'all connect on Twitter, and because Pam writes also, and we all love science. So, yes, this is how it works on Periscope. Anyway, guys, I did a webinar on this, and it was longer and more in-depth, so if you wanted to know something more about how to, I have a Google sheet on how to track your progress. I have like different sort of ways to set up writing routines and explanation on how to do free writing. I did a webinar. I'll go ahead and share the link with you. It didn't have my slides, so if you look at the webinar, I will send you the slides. I'm really sorry about that. It's just a tech glitch, but let me show you the link. paperravenbooks.com/5habits, because it's talking about these 5 habits. paperravenbooks.com/5habits. Alrighty, guys. That's what I got for today. Does anyone have any questions? What do you think? What are your habits? Chivas, I appreciate it, but you gotta stop, buddy. That's what we call trolling, and I'm about to block you. So, what about you guys? Any habits you have as writing that you want to work on? I'm trying to think. My big habit is I check email and Facebook before I start writing, which is like super no, can't do that. I also have a tendency to get up and get fresh coffee. Ronnie loved me too. Chivas, we appreciate the the attention, but we gotta contribute in other ways too. What other habits do we have? Unexamined habits are the worst because we just don't even realize how they're sinking our productivity. Writing too much? Ooh, Pam, I like that. That is interesting because, yeah, you're right. We want to get the word count out, but then we have to think, is what we're writing actually moving us closer toward that finish line? Ron snacking. It's true, and it's really hard to type and eat at the same time. So that will sink your word count productivity. Yeah, I guess I probably have that tendency too, Pam, to write too much. Tracy not taking a break. I know. Do you use a timer yet, Tracy? I know you've heard me talk about that like a million times. But using a timer has been key for me because I'm the same way. I'll work for 60 minutes and not realize it. So once I get in a groove, I'll work for a long time. But then if I'm not in the groove, it's like every 5 minutes I'm like, I wonder what's happening on Periscope. Another good habit is putting your phone on Do Not Disturb for like a block of time so that the little Periscope whistle doesn't go off. Those are some of mine. Well, guys, it's been fun. It's lunchtime. At least it is here. It's 12:25 Central Time. And I appreciate you guys sharing your lunch with me and getting some writing inspiration. Follow me if you don't already. Little Perry guy down there. Hit the plus, changes to a check, and then you're following me. And let's connect on Twitter @MorganGMac. Ooh, I should write that up there too. But I should write it in a way that you can actually read it and not mirror image. So spend the rest of your lunch writing, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Oh wait, tomorrow is, I'll give you a sneak peek. Where the heck do good writing ideas come from? That's what we're talking about tomorrow. All right.